I, F31, have a brother, M28, who is hoping to get married to his fiancée, F25. They have been in a relationship for a long time, have kids and a house together, so she isn't someone who's new to the family. We're all European, but I own a gorgeous house in Colorado. It is in the middle of the mountains, surrounded by forests, has huge windows looking out on my acres surrounding. It truly is stunning and a dream come true. A couple of months ago my brother came to me and asked me if they could use my house for a destination wedding. While I was hesitant to host a goddamn wedding in the house of my dreams, I can absolutely understand how my dream home is her dream venue. I told him they absolutely could, but had some rules, despite me not living there. No more than 25 guests. It truly is in the middle of nowhere, so guests would have to sleep at the house and I simply do not have room for more. Nothing that permanently alters anything in or around the house. No smoking indoors. Any damage done by them or their guests would have to be paid for. Since I'm quite protective of the house, I offered to decorate and find a caterer, and that be my gift to them. So, I'm providing them with a venue, food and decorations. I am currently almost 10K into my gift, because it's my brother's wedding and it's what I wanted to do. Now, shit has hit the fan. His fiancée decided she needed at least 45 guests. While I was willing to be flexible by 1 or 2, but 20? Nah. I asked her if she wanted to stack them and she got salty. On top of that, she wants me to pay to fly her family in, because I fronted the money to my other brother. He is paying me back, because he couldn't afford a ticket. I told her no, and again I got sassed. On top of that, she wants me to build a pergola, which I actually considered, paint my living room, cover up the beautiful wood, so duck no, and also pay for the drinks. I said no, I've done enough. She has now taken it upon herself to tell people I'm coming back on my promises, that I left her hanging, that she can't afford the super expensive wedding I made her plan, and even went as far as to uninvite my grandparents, just to spite me. Her word were, you wanted me to cut back on guests, so I'm picking your family. I'm getting at least 2 messages a day asking me why I'm ruining her day, if I'm jealous. Today, she called me to tell me that if I keep going out of my way to make her miserable, I and my rescues, 2 of my children are adopted, would not be invited either. While I find it absurd that she thinks she can uninvite me from my own house, the fact that she referred to my kids as rescues has me absolutely fuming. I am considering cancelling the whole thing, but be royally ducking over my brother in the process, who has done nothing wrong. So, is her shit show overshadowing my need to protect my brother from a giant financial hole? I don't know. Comment 1. NTA. You went out of your way to help her and your brother. And she is still wanting more. Even if you agreed upon with the extra things that she asked for, I think she would still ask for more. And there would be no end to that. Good for you for setting up boundaries. She seems very unreasonable, selfish and out of touch. And calling your kids rescues is out of the line and just shows you what kind of person she really is. If they don't have money for the destination wedding, then they shouldn't plan one in the first place. Comment 2. NTA. You say your brother has done nothing wrong, but ultimately it's his job to act as the bridge between his family and their soon-to-be family unit. By standing back and letting his wife try and berate and bully you, he's implicitly supporting everything she's doing. I'd be telling her she's uninvited from your home personally. Comment 3. Obviously you should cancel. The bride has shown huge disrespect and you should protect the family she calls rescues and your property. NTA. If someone disrespected my kids like that, I would not be speaking to them, let alone paying to host their wedding that has already crossed many of my boundaries. Maybe you cancelling the wedding will wake your brother up from his stupor. I want to start off by saying that I have done everything for my children. I was there at the hospital for their births, signed the birth certificates, I changed diapers and always provided them with food and designer clothes. But my ex is extremely manipulative and has tried to turn my children against me since day one. She manipulated my older daughter, who refused to talk things out with me. I will still forgive her once she finally decides to snap out of my ex's manipulations and come back to me. Me and my younger daughter Sarah had a great relationship until she suddenly flipped the switch in her senior year and also was poisoned against me. When Sarah was applying for college, I really didn't want her to go far because she has book smarts but lacks common sense, and I didn't want her to fall for scams. I even offered to buy her a car if she lived with me and commuted to a local school. But Sarah just said that the local programs didn't have what she wanted. I found it insulting because I went to a local college, and despite what my ex thinks, I am highly educated without some PhD. Sarah did not listen to my input at all. Her and my ex barely involved me in her college application process. My ex was extremely unhelpful. I would just ask basic questions like tuition since I was going to spend considerable funds, and she would either send website links. It would have only taken a few seconds for her to just answer the question so I can stay in the loop about what's going on. But this was just part of my ex's way of turning Sarah against me. Sarah enrolled at an out-of-state college, and I didn't even find out until May because my ex didn't bother telling me. I didn't even get to see Sarah off at the airport since she didn't tell me she'd left until after she was already gone. I constantly text Sarah asking how things are going. I sent her funny posts on Facebook and ask her to call me. I even offered to split the cost of plane fare so Sarah could visit over the holidays. She only responds on email, and it's always her saying she's too busy. I am frustrated and tired of this. She is taking a lot of classes right now, but I'm her father, and it would only take a second of her day to just text me back or talk to me on the phone for 5 minutes. I have supported and been providing for Sarah since day one. I am done being disrespected when I have bent over backwards for 18 years to give her everything and have sent $7,000 just this year for her schooling. I could be doing a million other things with that money. Maybe I am at fault for enabling it for so long, but not anymore. I sent an email telling her that I am done with being disrespected, and if she can't even give me the time of day, then my ex can find someone else to split the cost of her schooling with. I sent the email over 2 hours ago and there's been no response. I know my wording might seem harsh, but I am just so done with being disrespected. Comment 1, YTA. The way you talk about the women in your life is upsetting, concerning. Of course you paid for everything your kid needed during her childhood. That was your freaking responsibility. You don't get a trophy for supporting the children you choose to bring into the world. You aren't special. Now that she is 18, you could cut her off if you wanted to. But you'd be stupid to think that she's going to come crawling back to play by your manipulative rules with all the hugs and kisses for her daddy. She'll just do what most of us had to do. She'll take out loans to cover what you stop paying. You'll probably never see her again. Forget about her potential future children. You won't be their grandfather. I don't think your wife had to turn your children against you. I think you did that all by yourself. Comment 2. Sounds like the ex didn't have to poison the kids against him. They just realized how terrible of a person he is on their own, and of course, classic narcissist, it couldn't have possibly been the consequences of his own actions. Comment 3. YTA, it sounds like you're not a present and involved father, you sound like the distant dad who only sends money. Your email is proof of that because instead of opening up to your daughter and expressing your feelings, you use money to manipulate her and demand that she behaves as you want. You should blame your ex less and reflect on your role in your daughter's lives. Perhaps it's not too late to build a healthy relationship with them. 34F, have a friend named Summer, also 34F, who's a free spirit. In high school, she got sent home multiple times for going to class barefoot. She dropped out of college and hitchhiked to Mexico one summer, didn't tell anyone where she was going. She forgets to pay her phone bill, so she's occasionally unreachable. I know that sounds like a lot and it'll sound like even more by the end of this, but we've been friends since we were 10. I don't care that she's a mess. I love her. We're in this for the long haul. Summer's boyfriend, Will, is the opposite of her, and I'd hoped he'd mellow out her wild side. You know how Summer forgets to pay her phone bill? Well, Apparently she did it again. I found out when Will called me Friday morning while I was at work. He said he was having trouble locating Summer. I said, "Yup, that's Summer for ya. If you get a hold of her, please tell her to call me. Best of luck." Then I hung up, thinking nothing of it. Will rang me again and demanded to know where Summer is. I truthfully said that I have no idea, but I'll call her parents for him and see if they know. I went to do exactly that, but Will called me again before I could. I answered, and it was the same question but angrier: "Where the duck is my girlfriend?" I'll spare you the suspense. This went on for quite some time. Absolutely no clue why Will was convinced I know where Summer is, but I told him exactly when/where I last saw her and that she disappears like this routinely, which he damn well knows. They've been together for a year. I used the plainest language possible, but Will just wouldn't relent. He called me about 50 times. I put it on silent at first, but by the 51st time, I'd had enough. I answered and said, "Bro, stop blowing up my phone. I don't know where Summer is, and I'll block you if I have to. You're going to get me fired." Then I turned my phone off. Today, Summer called me. I was expecting some form of explanation, but she opened with, "I'm handing the phone to Will. He wants an apology." I stopped her and said, "Apology for what?" She said, "For saying that he blew up your phone." To which I replied, "He did blow up my phone, and I was at work too. Maybe I shouldn't have threatened to block, but he didn't get the point the first 50 times I said it calmly." Summer said, "Just apologize because he's really pissed, and here's where I'm probably no. No to all a ducking that. I'm not apologizing because her milquetoast boyfriend, who is basically the human equivalent of a dry ham sandwich, is on some ego trip." I said that but nicer, and she hung up on me. Now I'm thinking I should have socked it up rather than jeopardize 2 decades of friendship. Comment 1. NTA, you have nothing to apologize for, but he does. Also, any reason why he was convinced you knew where she was? Sounds like there's something else going on there between them. OP comment. The only thing I can think of is that back in high school, I'd cover for Summer when she'd sneak out. But we were teenagers, and I haven't done that in about 15 years. Comment 2. NTA. He has some issues, but you don't have to play this game. And you don't have to play her game either, so what if he's really pissed? You had no part of him being really pissed, and it's concerning that he's decided that you should be the target of his really pissed game. Honestly, right now you need to ask yourself if she's worth this. She wants you to apologize to her very out-of-bounds BF over something she is ultimately responsible for. Comment 3. NTA, she is jeopardizing the friendship. Why does she think it's appropriate for her boyfriend to verbally abuse her friend of 2 decades? I would pull back and wait for your apology, and be there for her when she ditches this controlling loser. My 21F mother, 53F, has always been the extremely controlling type. So much so that my very first whiff of alcohol was at 19, most of my friends started at 16, and I have never had a sleepover with any of my female friends, nor any of my family members, haha. Without dabbling into the details too much, I don't want any bias on this, my mom has always had full control over my life. After having had to drop out of uni due to financial constraints, these being me kicked out because the fee payer stopped paying, I took a couple of customer service jobs. Extremely low paying, terrible work hours, easily pulling a 15-hour shift at least twice a week, 7 a.m. 10 p.m. Recently, I got a new job. The pay is good, the work is great but very consuming, you earn every cent you make. Since getting this new job, I have made it my mission to get myself everything I've been begging for the last few years. I needed a new phone because my iPhone 7 was absolutely shattered, so I took out a finance plan for it. I had to get a new laptop for work, financing on that too. And earlier this week, I picked up my new, to me, 11 years old in reality, car. I was the only one of my siblings who was not bought a first car from my parents. Obviously, the amount of changes happening in my life made it seem as though I had a salary jackpot. I do not. I'm very good at saving. My mother has obviously seen this. I do still live with her in a rental house along with my unemployed dad, unemployed brother and his 2 kids. Our lease is up at the end of February and so, my parents have been viewing houses. My mother is blacklisted with the credit bureau right now. Side note, she was able to pay up all of her debt in 2020 after selling my childhood home. So all of the debt right now is very new. She has skipped her car payments, skipped her loan payments and pretty much anything else. My mother has a very good job and definitely can afford these things. Her lifestyle is entirely too inflated. She spends way too much on entertainment and entertaining. Due to the blacklisting, the landlords of the properties she wants are not open to offering her a rental. Once again, inflated lifestyle, she only wants the best of the best-looking houses. She has asked me to put my name and info down on her lease and she will cover the payments. When I had asked what it would do to my credit score, she snapped at me and started shouting about why I don't need a good credit score because I've already gotten the things I need on my credit. Obviously, my mom is a terrible payer. That would reflect on my credit score and, at 21, I'm preparing myself to move out into my own apartment in the near future. My mother is not seeing it this way and has decided to give me the cold shoulder. If I greet her at any point during the day, she looks at me very blankly and continues what she was doing wordlessly. Comment 1, NTA. Look up grey rocking and learn to do it. Lock your credit. Get out ASAP. These unemployed losers are going to suck you dry because your recent conspicuous spending makes you look like you have money to burn. They should all be looking for jobs. If your mother brings up any money-related topics, ask when your father and brother are getting jobs. Ask it every time. Sign nothing. I get that she is in a tight spot, but she needs to be hammering on her husband and her unemployed son to get jobs and contribute. Comment 2. NTA. And don't let her bully you into this. You are now 21, legally responsible for wherever your name is used, and thus if you agree to this you agree to be her financial backup. I'd put a freeze on your credit if you can, so she can't start using it, and lock everything down. You know she's going to come up with a new plan when this one fails. Comment 3. NTA. This would ruin your credit and so tie you in with your mother in your living arrangements for years, which would suit her down to a T. So don't do that and make sure that your mother doesn't write them in for you. It seems just about important enough for her to do something as illegal as that, hoping that you won't report you because you are her daughter. Promise me that you will report her if she does that. I 30M have been with my girlfriend 26F for about 1 year. She has a son 7 who I am not that close with, but we have a friendly relationship. Now the argument we had was that I came home from work really late this Wednesday, at about 21, my girlfriend looked super tired, she got off at 16 as usual. She really stressed, asked me if I could please read a bedtime story to her son so she could shower quickly. I told her that I could but that I would like to eat first, then she told me that she was sorry but it had been a stressful day and that she had no time to cook a meal today. I felt frustrated with her as I had worked for about 13 hours straight, so I told her that if she couldn't even put some time aside to do one little thing for me, I would not do anything for her either as I know now where her priorities lies. She raised her voice at me and told me to just please read her son a bedtime story so she could shower and then she would make a quick meal for me. I told her sorry but no, it is her kid and her responsibility. She stopped whining there and then and went with her son to put him to bed. She did not shower nor did she make me a meal. When I laid beside her in bed she acted like she already was asleep. The days after till now she has barely talked with me and has been sleeping in her son's room. I don't feel like I did anything wrong, however, she obviously thinks so. I had been working for a long time, she had been off work and hadn't even done basic tasks, then accepted me to do something when I worked that long. I feel like she was unreasonable. Comment 1. YTA and this is why she couldn't even put some time aside to do one little thing for me. I would not do anything for her either and it is her kid and her responsibility. You are an adult. You are capable of feeding yourself, you punished the kid BC you were pissy with mom, and you live with kid, You don't get to act like you have zero responsibility or accountability to the child. The kid is a real and whole person, not your ex-GF's accessory. Since you're single now, stay that way for a while and don't waste another single mom's time. Comment 2. Not just YTA, you're a super massive R. She's clearly had such a rough day that she's not even managed to feed herself or shower, and your response is that instead of helping her with a 5-minute activity, you instead punish her and her son for her not getting your dinner ready for you like a good woman should? Never mind her being cold to you, I'm baffled you're still together.